Hello, and welcome back to another Chronic Illness on a Daily, where I talk about chronic illness on a not so daily. As you can tell, my channel has been inactive for about 2 months now. It might be a little less than that, but it's about 2 months. Um, I've been working on getting myself out of rolling PEM and into a more recovery mode part of life instead of being constantly recovering from PEM, which is a much healthier way to exist. And so far, I've discovered that I am actually technically homebound for the most part, based on how severe my symptoms are. Um, this is an interesting discovery because I had been recognizing that my symptoms were severe enough that if I had the option to not leave the house, I wouldn't be able to leave the house, basically, unless it was for something very specific without worsening my symptoms. And I knew that back then, that every time I left the house, when I wasn't fully rested, that I was making myself a lot worse every single time. But I couldn't do anything about it. So that made me just give up caring about it and just not care about the repercussions until now. But now I can actually look at what's going on and be like, okay, here's what I can fix. And now is when I need to take a step back and look at the whole big picture like a GP would do and say, hey, what is going on here? What is the actual problem that's going on? For me, it's EDS. I have EDS. EDS is causing all these different disorders. It is just EDS. That's all it is. Um, and so you look at that and you try to figure out, okay, how do you fix these things that are being caused by the main issue? And for EDS, I don't know if there are fixes for that. I don't know if there are fixes for gastroparesis other than the gastroparesis diet plan that my gastroenterologist that I previously was working with sent me. That I worked through with my nutritionist, not nutritionist, dietitian. Um, I don't know if um there are ways to do physical therapy that are beneficial for ME/CFS that aren't graded exercise therapy. Because graded exercise therapy makes ME/CFS worse when it's not accounting for PEM. And for me, I can't tell when I'm in PEM until I have completely crashed. I can't tell. I just know something is wrong. I feel bad. I know something is wrong and I feel bad. But that is all I can tell. And that comes from a childhood where I was taught to ignore the minor symptoms of disability because there are bigger symptoms that matter more. Because I had asthma. So if I had an asthma attack, that mattered because you can actually do something about that. But when my ankles hurt, I was taught to ignore that until they hurt so much that it was really hard to walk. And then I was told, okay, let's go figure out what's going on. And it turned out I had tendonitis. And now I know why had tendonitis. I had tendonitis because my joints were overworked from compensating for the connective tissue disorder that I have. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that if you grow up in the wrong situation or you grow up in a society that just ignores the minor aspects of disability, like, why do I hurt all the time? And society says, it doesn't matter if you hurt all the time, don't worry about it. It's just pain. Take a pain med. You can work through it. That's not healthy. You need to find out why you're in pain. If you're in pain a lot, you need to find out why you're in pain. Because there's a cause for that pain. I had chronic migraines from the ages of around 11 or 12 until now and continuing, except they're managed now because I'm on an anti-seizure med. They're managed now because I got them treated. But from 11 or 12 till about 20, they were unmanaged, and I was just like, oh, I guess I have to have my head hurt most of the time. Except the catch is, for me, I don't have as many migraines when I'm in quiet places. So, when I was with my caregivers, I would have less migraines. So I was like, oh, okay. I guess I don't have as bad of issues, so I don't need to ask about it as much. And my caregivers were like, yeah, just take a pain med, it'll go away. And that worked. So I didn't worry about it. But then I went to university. And at university, it just got worse. Way worse. Everything was so loud. I could hear the electricity running through the wires to the refrigerator. That's how bad it got. And it was like everything was loud and vibrating, and just everything was ruminating through my head and pulsing and everything. And I eventually went to the doctor on campus about it. And they were like, yeah, let's refer you to a neurologist. And I was like, oh, okay. The neurologist I saw was like, yeah, those are migraines. What you're describing is prodrome. And what comes after that you're describing is aura. And then you're describing migraine. And yeah. And then, so there's this app called Migraine Buddy that he referred me to use. And from that app, I discovered Postdrome, which explains why I feel like utter crap after a migraine. Because you can have either depressed mood or euphoric mood. I get depressed mood usually. But having a way to label what's going on so you can put it in a category and kind of compartmentalize that set category of symptoms in a way that you understand it and know what to do with it is useful. Because diagnosis is utter bullshit, and diagnoses are just a social construct to explain issues with the body that are going on physically, But social constructs are useful for understanding what do I do? What do I do with this set of symptoms? What do I do? Well, others with this set of symptoms do this. So I will do this. Okay, this seems to help. And as you see, that is how diagnosis is helpful. That is all diagnosis is useful for. When you're chronically ill, do not focus on getting the perfect diagnosis label. Get the diagnosis label that helps you get the diagnosis treatment that you need. The diagnosis treatment you need. If the treatment works, that's what matters. That is all that matters. But yeah, for me, I'm still trying to find treatment that solves ME/CFS. And sometimes I wonder if ME/CFS is the right label, because I have the right symptoms for it, but also fibromyalgia has a similar symptom pool and has a different treatment plan. However, I was put through part of that treatment plan and it made me worse. So that points to ME/CFS. So, what do you do in that case? I don't know. Because graduated exercise therapy is good, I believe, for fibromyalgia if it's done very, very gently. I'm completely uneducated on fibromyalgia. I just know that exercise is helpful for fibromyalgia, whereas in ME/CFS, it is not helpful. Pacing is helpful for ME/CFS, which pacing has helped me. Except it has left me, basically housebound, which is kind of funny, but also annoying, because I need to not be housebound. But who knows? We'll see where that goes. But yeah, here's an update. Me and my, ruffled hair state, because I've not brushed it since I washed my hair. And this is what straight hair looks like when it's not brushed after washing it. But yeah. Best wishes, good misses.